To the top right, we have one of the youngest pro gamers in Korea that was able to win the GSL. Right now, he's down 2 maps. Can he turn things around? He is.
Starting live. Not afraid to 6-spool, not afraid to Nidus, not afraid to do anything.
But his opponent was already a step ahead of him. Is this also true for Cloud Kingdom? Starting to the bottom left, we have in blue the one and only Soul Train Conductor.
PartinG. He is the conductor, the winner of all tournaments in Asia the past month. He is just looking fine, man. No matter who he's up against, no matter what strategy he uses, he seems to be unstoppable. Again, totally skips on the forge. He goes for the scout. And in fact, we don't have the pull down just yet. He's going to drop it very soon. He can't really try to drop a hatchery when the probe's already here. And there's the pull.
He goes for the pool, but actually I think that he was toying around with the idea a little bit.
Yeah, he
until he
definitely
saw the
considered
probe.
it. Yeah, it was a little bit later of a pool.
Well, at this point, PartinG is already up 2 games, and if he is able to get another win here, then he only has to win that 1 additional map to win the entire finals. And live, he is in trouble, and he knows it. PartinG has shown over and over again that he can beat Zergs, and as mentioned before, at the MLG tournament that they just had recently, they played a best of 5, and PartinG, yeah, he won it without dropping a single map with a 3-0. So live, I hope that his nerves are actually holding, that he's not in a position where he feels like he can't beat this guy.
Look at the average playtime for PartinG versus Zerg, 17 minutes and 12 seconds. So that goes to show you that even though he does this push a lot, that kind of shows that a lot of his games are also really long. 17 minutes and 12 seconds, there's probably like 2 games that PartinG has ever played at that length. He plays a lot of games with the Immortal Push and a lot of games in the super late game with 4, sometimes 5 bases with the Mothership. So both extremes are possible, and that's something that Life knows. Their teammates, he's got a lot of experience with this, but it doesn't make it any easier.
And live now, he has to come up with a solution, and maybe on this map he is going to find one, but it's a decent map for Protoss. This is a map that Shiro would choose every single time he's down against a Protoss player. In the Blizzard Cup, we've witnessed him picking this map, I think 3 or 4 times even. So right now, what is PartinG going to do? It's a good map for the Immortal Push, it's a good map for the late game. He has so many options here.
You know, sometimes you see Stargate play here too. I feel like it's the least likely strategy. Most of the time you either see an Immortal push or an Immortal take the 3rd. Nice block here, waiting for that cannon. He wants to save the probe, not quite able to do so. That means he's not going to be able to do a follow-up scout.
Yeah. So he does not really know about the 3rd base. He can of course assume that it... Well, actually there was a probe.
Yeah, he's got a probe there. That was just the probe that was to block, I suppose.
Yeah.
Consider though, only MC really goes Stargate on this map. I don't think we're going to see Phoenixes here. We have seen it before.
He actually played it as well.
Yeah.
We've seen PartinG use the strategy too. It's more common to go into the robotics here, but we could see a Stargate for him. I feel, you know, so far his strategy I think is not going to evolve around going into an Immortal Push right away again, so I could see a Stargate. If I personally was him, I was just, in this situation, being ahead 2 games, I would just Immortal Push for as long as I possibly could. Up to the point where life defeats me once, and then I would probably switch strategies.
See, it's just about that one time, because later on we do have Abyssal City, we do have Belcher Vestige, that's a map you might want to use the Immortal Push on later. That pylon is probably...
True, actually.
That's probably where we're going to see our tech. Here comes the probe. What's it going to be? Robotics!
He's going for the Robo again, before the +1 attack upgrade.
This is intense. I feel like he's just going to do the Immortal Push again, like you said, until it fails now.
And now it's, of course, the ball is once again in Live's court. What exactly are we going to see from PartinG? We will see in a second what he decides to do with the robotics. We've seen him go into a play where he tries to take the 3rd base with the additional Templar Archive. Sorry, of course, the Twilight Council.
Right.
But Live knows that it's an option, that there might be an Immortal Push coming, and there's the +1 attack upgrade. So what is he going to do? Is he changing things? Will we at some point maybe see a very fast tech for him?
That's entirely possible. I would not be surprised.
You know, there have been several ways how you can approach this. We had a lot of Zerg players trying to... There's the Immortal, so we will see the choo-choo train again. A lot of Zerg players try to hit Mutalisk timings, Infestor timings. You can go for a drop play with force fields to just make sure that force fields don't matter. Most of the time, Protoss are pretty happy about that because you just drop the units one by one into the army, and players like Mana, for example, pointed out several times when they were playing in the GSL that this is something that they're really happy with, because then they can take their opponent's army down quite easily if they do it correctly, if they target well. So there are a lot of options what you can go for, and these days what Zergs try to do is flank and counter-attack.
Yeah.
But it looks like Protoss is just too prepared for it.
Yeah, people have really figured out how to deal with that. A lot of people going for the double walls like we saw last game, or oftentimes multiple cannons. We have double evolution chamber. That's a pretty big variation here, but that's not something that's really going to be helpful against this type of push necessarily. He goes for speed. Okay, so he's actually going to go Infestors this time to try to hold. I say try to hold, but he doesn't even know what's coming yet.
At this point, he completely skips the roaches. He wants to go into a heavy circling style. And this might be the answer that he needs here. He will be faster with his units. He can bounce between flanking and going into a counter-attack. And he knows, of course, that with his strategy, he needs he needs more lava. So he goes into the macro hatch as well. And as you pointed out, the Infestors. And let's talk a little bit about what we've seen in the last game against a sniper. Massive amount of sentries and a double funnel on the sentries, and as I said before, they pop like pimples. You can take them out and all of them will die. This is so much resources lost. If he gets a double funnel, PartinG cannot continue.
Calder, I think that this may work, and it's not going to be easy, but this is the first Zerg brave enough to try it in this entire tournament.
He's
no
trying
one
to
has
buy
tried
time.
it.
He's trying to buy time for his upgrades. He needs the 1-1. He's trying to bait force fields, but PartinG is patient.
PartinG is super patient, man.
Look at those links. 30 links being built. He has so many already. Here comes the Pathogen Glance upgrade, and he's buying time. Every second counts.
PartinG knows what's going on. He knows this is a link-heavy play where Infestors are going to be the choice, so he knows he needs to hit this timing. Those Lings not trading very efficiently, but they do slow some of the Zealots down.
And PartinG plays with a lot more Zealots than he usually would, because he sees what he's up against. But the +1-1 upgrades are going to be done soon, and so far PartinG has not moved in. The Infestors are already on the production tab. I feel like Life might be able to take this.
He might be able to do it, man. He might do the unthinkable.
But can he defend his third?
I don't think he's going to hold the third, but he's got the macro hatch, so he can let this go.
He doesn't even want to take the save the third. He already built all those spine crawlers at his natural.
Yeah, he's just going to let the third go.
And the Infestors are ready. Well, look at how beautiful this timing is. Pathogen Glance finishes, and a second later we have the Infestors out.
PartinG needs to walk away. If he actually tries to walk into those spine crawlers with Infestors, he's going to watch his Immortals flash before his eyes. He needs to walk away.
This is Life. He has everything. Oh, what a beautiful funnel from the high ground.
He needs that Warp Prism for vision. The spine crawler finishes, Infestor pops. Those Zealots are actually not going to really accomplish too much. He wants to target down an Infestor. Nice micro.
Can he get the second funnel? He needs more funnels here. The spike roller is doing the damage. One funnel hits. He is ready. Those sentries, they pop, and now suddenly PartinG is in a little bit of trouble. He still has the same supply. He has a lot of units on the high ground, but can he deal with those Infestors?
He is losing Zealots to the spine crawlers at the front. He's not microing as well as he could be. A lot of invested energy has already been used, though.
We only have 2 of them left.
I think he may hold here.
The Zerglings have to take down the Immortals, though, before they kill all the spine crawlers. That's the scary part here. He's trying to get more units in. The supply lead is for Life, but for how long?
Yeah, for how long? The spine crawlers are going down. The Infestors are exposed. More Zealots warping in. He needs them for the Zerglings. A great choice here. But those Lings have 1-1. He needs to micro the Immortals back. Where's the Warp Prism?
The sentries are gone. The sentries are gone. And now suddenly there comes another funnel. The Queens are trying to move in. Where are the Zerglings? They close the distance. The Zealots, they die. And PartinG, he might lose here. He only is at 70 supply.
He needs to pull that Immortal back.
He does not really have anything to reinforce those Immortals to support them. Finally a round of warp-ins. But is that enough?
He doesn't have that many hit points left on that Warp Prism either, so he's got to be careful. If he loses it, the Immortals can't be microed like this anymore.
PartinG knows that the follow-up is going to be very, very difficult for him at this
point. This is so smart. He's just going to avoid. He uses the elevator trick here. He just avoids the spike crawlers. He goes in the main.
He goes in the main, which opens him up against the surround. Here comes another
There's too many roaches, I feel.
The roaches now finally joining the battle. They can take down the Zealots, and the Immortals, there are 2 left, but can they close the distance?
He doesn't need to be fighting that Queen. He needs to be fighting the roaches.
The big problem for him is there are no sentries anymore.
He has 2,000 gas right now.
Oh my god, the Immortals, they survive. But now we have a lead in Harvester supply for Life. He has pushed his opponent back. He has the tech that he needs. And PartinG is trying to transition. He's in a position where he realized, I can't kill him. I cannot kill him. I have to transition. Robotic Spay and Twilight Council.
He's trying to transition here, but I feel like this is an uphill climb that's going to be impossible. The macro hatch alone gives him so much production. If he gets these Immortals lost at all, he loses everything. That hatchery survives with 29 hit points, by the way.
The macro hatch here important for him, and now is the time of life. He tries to move in, and he tries to, of course, deny this third base. He will get his own, and there it is, the hatch being placed down. Wolf, this is so close.
This is tense, and PartinG he's got no real advantage in this game to hold on to except his gas.
But at the same time, Life stopped the Immortal push, but he hasn't won the game yet.
Yeah. And those Immortals are still doing work here. Life actually has to turn around. Plus one armor is on the way, and we have Blink now. He's going to try to hold the third base using these Colossi. Is he just going to go for a follow-up attack? That's also a possibility.
I mean, he could. Life is even double expanding here. He knows that at this point, he has the lava, he has also the drones, but he needs the additional mineral patches. He needs to saturate more bases.
That's so many sentries, but he's got the gas to afford it. He actually warped in so many zealots in that fight to fight the Zerglings. He built up the gas.
The big problem for PartinG is, let's say for Life, is that he doesn't have a Spire. He doesn't have an answer to Colossi just yet. He needs to rely on those roaches and then on the fungals. So if PartinG decides to push, he needs to be careful that he doesn't get fungled, especially with the sentries. But the big advantage for him are the Colossi. On the other hand, this is also true for him just defending the third base, which he tries to do here.
He's got those pylons to do a little bit of harassment as well. For example, I feel he could have, if he wanted to, warp in some units to attack that fourth base, but it's a bit too risky at this point. He can't afford to throw minerals away like that, not until he has his third base.
You know, with those extra bases for Life, if he gets the gas count up, he can transition into the Hive Tech. He already has the Infestation Pit. He has 10 Infestors on the map. He does not have to kill him now. Moving in now would, in my opinion, be taking too much of a risk, because if the force fields are good, he might lose his army.
I don't think he expects there to be this many sentries up here, but there are so many, and he can't break up against us. Not with the cannons finishing as well. The Observer sees everything. He wants to try it though. This is a big risk.
It's a huge risk, but he takes it. He wants to take him out now. He wants to take it because he gets too dangerous. The Colossus is fungled. He can't move, and the Colossus, it is dead. And now suddenly there's no answer for the Zerglings and the Roaches anymore. So many Infestors.
Blink isn't done. Now it finishes.
The third base, he doesn't cancel it. Will he save it? It doesn't look like it.
I don't think so, man. I think Life is going to take his first game in this series right now.
Life takes down the Nexus. He dodges the force fields attacks from two angles, and he takes the Colossus down immediately. Those Zerglings can still do the damage, and now PartinG is suddenly up against a huge army, against a 4-based Zerg player. And well, let's be honest about it. Life now completing the Greater Spire, this gives him another angle against Colossi.
Yeah, PartinG
sorry, the Spire, of course. Greater Spire, he wishes, but not yet.
Not yet, but he will have it pretty soon if things continue this way. PartinG is actually just trying to do his best to stay alive. He's hanging by a thread of a thread right now in this game. He loses, of course, that Roach. Life does to that Blink, but he's up 50 supply. He has all the bases. He's got all the tech. Still could see some warp-ins.
Arkan's, of course, now a really good choice against the Zerglings. This is just so important for him to make the right choices now. But Life has such a lead in this game. He's not only 50 supply up, he has the creep spread, he has the 4 bases. And PartinG didn't use those pylons. You pointed them out earlier, Wolf. Top left double pylon that he could use for attempted harassments, but he can't really use them. Life doesn't give him the room to breathe.
Yeah, I feel like PartinG actually might not make any more Colossi. Think about that. If a ton of Corruptors get made before Broodlords, so of course Corruptors are going to be useful for Broodlords even if you have a surplus of them, but what if he attacks before Broodlords are ready with only 1 Colossus, with 21 Stalkers and 3 Archons? He's building a pretty good composition if there's an overmake on the Corruptors. This is a great scout. You can see the composition with this Zealot.
And call me crazy, but there was no Hive Tech just yet. So Life is not going into the Broodlords after all. He's just, there it is. I was already worried for him. I was like, okay, are you really trying to take him down right now? I mean, he has the army, don't get me wrong. But the follow-up, that's something that he also needs just in case.
The Infestors are so key because even though there's only 1 Colossus, that means he has an over-saturation of Corruptors. He still has those Infestors, and without the Colossi, how is he going to deal with those Infestors?
And here we go, the Lynx closing the distance. The Blink away, the Archon exposed, a lot of Infested Terrans, the Colossus is gone.
Pulling back against the Infested Terrans. But, you know, the damage output here for Life just seems way too much.
Oh my god, this is such a huge amount of damage output. And there's the GG! The Soul Chain has been stopped Life is going out of this group immediately. I can certainly see him run over to PartinG. This is, oh my god, this was art. This was what Zergs were waiting for. How do you stop the push? And Life did it. And what is PartinG going to do now?
Yeah, man, that's the question. But Life did what every Zerg in this entire tournament was too scared to do. He made the infestation pit. He made it work with the macro hatch, with the wings. And even though PartinG knew, I got to hit this timing,
he sacrificed his third base.
I gotta ask a question to you because I'm a little bit on the fence about this myself. When he killed the third hatchery and killed some of those infested on the high ground, do you think at that moment he could have just walked home, made a third base and robotic support bay and said, all right, are we cool? I'm just gonna move back. You lost your third and I killed some of your infestors. I didn't lose my immortals yet. I can walk home here.
It's actually a good question because I talked with Naniwa about this a lot when Naniwa started to play his strategy, and he's like, if you kill the third, you can move back if you go right into a blink because you need a little bit more, mobility, you need to take your third base and then blink immediately. So he could have done it, but I felt like he saw what was going on and was like, okay, if I actually use elevator tactic, warp into the main base, I can still crush him. I'm still in a good position. He has the spine crawlers ready, but he felt like he could push through. If he would have realized how many infestors there are already, I think he would probably have just tried to take the third base.
If he had a little bit more control with the Zealots on the low ground, he lost maybe 5 or 6 of them to those spine crawlers not really doing any damage, things could have been very different.
It was just Life. From the beginning, he knew a third base, I can't hold this. If I go into links with 1-1 upgrades and into infestors to support them, I cannot hold the third base. I will not be there in time. That's why he built the spine crawlers at his natural and not at the third. He was willing to sacrifice it, and because he had to do it, he also built the macro hatch that gave him the extra lava.
You're absolutely right. We're going to have another break before we go into our next game, so stay tuned. We'll be back at the GSL Finals.